Yo, what is up, guys? So I have a complete shutdown, lockdown deck for you guys, courtesy of LYPRO. Really cool deck, really consistent, I would say. Even if you added some of the Goki cards, I mean, it's just make a soul, which is pretty easy to do in a lot of different decks. But in addition to that, having Brilliant Fusion allows you to make basically a win condition on its own. So important cards to make in this combo is Herald of Pure Light. When you go for your Gem Knight card, via like you can go Lone Fire into the Predator Plant combo, or just activate Brilliant Fusion. Alright, anyways, you actually get to use as material for this card Zaborg. So, important thing, send Zaborg to graveyard. When you go for your Hero Kid play with a Soul, which you can do with like even Goki cards, you're going to go ahead and make Pure Light. Pure Light lets you detach and add any monster from your graveyard to your hand. So you're able to add Zaborg. Then, of course, you tribute for Zaborg, because you get the additional summon. And then you actually get to send a few things to the graveyard. Sending triple copies of Herald will then let you search out all those additional cards, which basically gives you free reign, and that's going to make the deck really consistent. Obviously, if you draw the cards, well, you just activate them anyways. You can even play anything that just special summons level 5 monsters. Okay, important thing, and this is where it gets broken. Let me explain this. So, CXYZ Burying Hope actually gains 1,000 attack for each material attached to it. The reason why it has 5,500 is because of a bonus effect, because he's actually going to be able to target one number monster in his own graveyard and copy its effect. What he's actually doing is copying number 86, Heroic Champion Rongo Minad. And what his effect is he gets bonus effects depending on how many material is attached to it. But he has to detach one material during the end phase of each of your opponent's end phases. But because Burying Hope's effect actually only lasts until the end phase, you could just activate Burying's Hope effect so it doesn't have to detach. So basically, your opponent cannot Yugioh, alright? They cannot special summon, they cannot normal summon, and very soon, as you guys will see, because this card's already immune, so he doesn't have to worry about this turn, this card getting wrecked. And again, guys, he can't special summon, so there's no like other like kaiju that he could actually go for. So this is probably one of like the nastiest plays. Like he's got a lot of back row, but it doesn't matter because remember he also gets a search out with Orphelia that's gonna give him that extra card, so he can just go ahead and make Exterior. And because Isolde has that effect, you actually get to add the BLS. You'll see this Trinity combo here, very consistent to pull off. Like I said before, you could even mix in Gokis. Heck, I mean, I would throw in like double summon at this point. Like the deck seems pretty nasty to run into. I mean, most of the combos are going to be very similar, but like I said, you could actually probably run Gokis in here and make it consistent as well. But basically, you just need to be able to have Brilliant Fusion. You can do Goki plus Brilliant Fusion, but you definitely do need Brilliant Fusion to pull this off. But also, Hero Kid, important key card in any variant that's going to go for like the one-turn play of going for huge big boy plays with his Soul. And pretty much it's the same concept over here. Zaborg, pop itself, send a bunch of stuff from the extra deck to the graveyard, getting all the Herald's effects over here. And then, like I said before, we're just using the crows because you're able to just go ahead and summon them real easy. Alternatively, you could technically play other cards, that way you wouldn't have to go for that play, but again, it's the same thing. I mean, he's got the Reflesia, which has the effect, if you can mouse over the card, so it has that effect. You get to add any polymerization or fusion spell during the next standby phase after we're sent to the graveyard. So that's what's going to let you, again, be able to go for like the easy win. And again, you search this card out and you get to make it Exterior. Most people can't even play at that point. I mean, you stop all spells, all traps. They cannot summon. All they can do is set one monster, which obviously isn't going to be good because BLS can go ahead and attack, and then it's going to be able to attack again unless, of course, the monster has an effect. But more than likely, there's no one that runs flip effects. All right, Crawler players, you probably will lose anyways against this deck because BLS could just banish the monster. They attacked with double of their monsters, which of course would be the number 86. Well, it's technically Burying Hope, but it's going to have 5,500 attack. And then because they can't summon anything, get rid of a Soul. The Soul is probably going to get the attack in. And then what are you going to do next turn? Exactly, nothing. Because I feel like this is such a dirty combo because, again, number 86 is supposed to detach during each of the opponent's end phase. And so eventually, your opponent would then be able to special summon or normal summon monsters because he only gains that effect when you have 4 materials attached to it. And you're supposed to detach, but you never detach. So again, it's like the same combo once again, and the guy has to GG here because I mean, even Sky Strikers, if you summon Exterior turn 1, like that's game over for them. I mean, well, most decks would just lose to Exterior turn 1 anyways. But I mean, obviously you could technically use like a Kaiju, but in this case, no Kaiju, nothing's stopping it. Again, you can't even normal summon. Actually, hold on. Speaking of that, I want to go back and watch something I want to check something for 1 second because this guy is a savage. I mean, at this point, Yu-Gi-Oh has gotten to the point where you gotta main deck the Sphere mode, man. But it requires 3 tributes to normal summon, which means you can't even Winged Dragon of Raw Sphere mode him because you can't normal summon. You can only set cards. No normals, no specials, not even Raw Sphere mode can beat this board, guys. But anyways, for those of you guys that want the deck profile, shout out to you, Liparock. You made something kind of cool, definitely. Something that I personally have not seen. And I didn't even know about this combo with Barry and Hope. I think it's pretty broken because, again, the way to counter 86 is your opponent would invest most of their cards into making number 86. I don't know if you guys played this against this deck a while. It was popular for, I don't know, I want to say a week. When it first got announced, we made a video and people were like, dude, this card is so broken. Oh my gosh. But, like, all you would do is you set a monster. Because they have to have like 4 or more, like if they're attaching 4 materials attached to it, they don't have a hand. But with this combo, obviously you'll have a follow-up play. It also has another effect which I didn't go over. So let me actually go over the full effect of this because that's kind of important. So number 86 Heroic Champion, even though we're actually using Barian, what we're actually doing is copying number 86's effect, so that's pretty much its effect. Anyways, so it gains different effects depending on how much material is attached to it. So if you have 2 more, it gains 1500 attack. That's why normally it goes from 4000 to 5500, which pretty much means it's not being destroyed by battle, but your opponent can't even summon anyways. They can only set. So it gains 1500 attack and defense, but if it's 3 or more, it's unaffected by other card effects, so pretty much you're immune to everything. But if you have 4 or more, your opponent cannot normal or special summon monsters, and that's the effect that we're really looking for. And then on top of that, once per turn, if you have 5, you get to destroy all cards your opponent controls. You don't really have access to this in this version of the deck. Now, we are also having huge consistency here with Magical Mallet and Reload for 2 reasons. One, obviously you want to have your combo with the Brilliant Fusion. Pretty much I would say as long as you get Brilliant Fusion and you have like anything to make the Invoker with, there's obviously a few different ways to make Invoker. You can even, like I said before, and I was mentioning you can run Goki cards as well, but the Plant Engine is probably going to be a much better option, but there's really not options for going for the 5 attachments here. But anyways, let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile for any of you guys that do want to check out and play this deck. I would say it's a more cheese-oriented deck, but I mean, obviously with triple Reload, triple Magical Mallet, I mean, it's pretty simple to pull off the combo. I mean, all you really need is this, and like another way to, of course, summon the Invoker, which there's lots of cards that can summon Invoker. There's a lot of like 1 to 2 card combos. But one thing I want to mention with Hero Kid is if you happen to have even one Hero Kid, the combo does not really work unless you have like a Reborn or something like that, along the lines of that. So shuffling back some of the cards is definitely required, so keep that in mind as well. You might want to shuffle back some of the Hero Kids to go for a combo, otherwise it's just not going to work. But anyways, 2 copies of Gemini Garnet, 1 BLS, and this just helps, again, OTK that next turn, because when your opponent all they can do is set literally 1 monster, and then they have to pass. Well, you just attack over that, you hit for 3k, and then you also get to hit for 5,500. That's basically how the deck works. The other Assault that you have that more than likely will be staying on board, unless of course they're like dark holding you, but even if they do, you still win the game anyways. Anyways, 3 copies of Zaborg. And then we have 3 copies of Rose Paladin. I'm not sure how I feel, honestly, about 3 copies of Zaborg. That might be a little bit too much, because technically I feel like you only need 1 anyways, but that's the way I see it. Heck, I would have thrown maybe perhaps an Allure. Actually, we were 6 darks? I don't know. Because after you go for a Predator Plant, that doesn't really do anything anyways. It's kind of a turn 1 oriented deck. But anyways, Zaborg. You can also run things like Hand Destruction, technically to throw it in the graveyard, or Foolish, but I mean, it works pretty well with, of course, Brilliant Fusion, so I don't really feel like you really need Foolish, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, I just don't know how I personally feel about 3 Zaborg. Anyways, next up, Rose Paladin. So this card has the effect that you contribute Whenever this card destroys an opponent's monster by battle, which you're not going to use, you can tribute it, special summon it. But it has another effect is you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to add a level 7 or higher plant type monster from your deck to your hand. And then, of course, we got the 3 copies of Scorpio, 2 copies of Cobra, 3 copies of Lonefire. We got 3 copies of Hero Kid, 2 copies of the Castor, which is just any level 5, but it's because you can add it for free. That's why we're actually utilizing it. And then, of course, we have 1 Day of Peace, 3 copies of Miracle Synchro, 1 Upstart, 3 copies of Mallet, 1 copy of Kaleidoscope, 3 copies of Reload, 3 copies of Brilliant Fusion, 1 Predator Pruning, 1 Moon Mirror Shield, and 1 Divine Sword Phoenix Blade. For the extra deck, the important cards are, of course, going to be Exterio, Chimera Flesia, the Gemnite card, Omega, Interior Barkion, Beast, 3 copies of Arclight, 1 C101, and of course, number 86, the Burying Hope. Then we got Invoker, Held of Pure Light, and Isolde. So basically, the extra deck is super tight. I think the only card, I mean, technically this can reset some of the stuff. I think everything is basically required. Do not change the extra deck. But anyways, Lipper Rock, you made a really cool deck. I think that this is actually a pretty broken combo because I really don't know how you beat this, like just the number 86, because again, what you're supposed to do is detach, and that's how you beat this guy, but you don't need to detach because Burying Hope only lasts until the end of your opponent's next turn, which then you just be like, okay, end, and then just reactivate again. I don't know, it's pretty dirty. But anyways, that's the deck profile of the lockdown your opponent cannot summon, and then in 1 turn they cannot play spell and traps. So you basically lock them down out of pretty much just doing anything. This is a savage deck. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed seeing that video. Watch out for this deck because it's definitely quite cheesy if you get wrecked by it. But anyways, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button to see more Yu-Gi-Oh! Crazy decks. And if you guys have any cool things, I always like to share, you know, things like this that were sent in by the community. Send in a replay file to AzneyesReplays@gmail.com. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys, and I am signing out.